Somebody call 911. Shawty fire burning.
Now on to today's Money 911, our special half hour dedicated to solving your money emergencies. Here to help us is our all-star team. Today's financial editor, Jean Chatzky, Stacey Tisdale, author of The True Cost of Happiness, and Carmen Wong-Ulrich, personal finance expert for CNBC. Natalie is at Dean and DeLuca taking questions from our crowd. So good morning, everybody. We all ready to get going?
Good morning. Sure.
All right, let's start her off with an email from Linda in New Jersey. She writes, I have a guaranteed for life income annuity with a company. I tried to break the contract because I'm about to lose my house. If I'm receiving $500 a month, why can't they do 5 years ahead and try to help me? I tried to find a job, still nothing. I can't afford a lawyer to help me, or I would. Is there anything I can do? Jean, what's your deal?
Probably not. Unfortunately, look, you signed a contract, and this is plain and simple why we tell people you don't want to annuitize everything. It's okay to annuitize a chunk of your retirement money so that you know that you've got some sort of an income, but you've got to leave yourself with a safety cushion. My suggestion, call your state insurance commissioner and see if you can get anybody there on board to help you. Also, go back to the agent who sold you this annuity and see if you can get them on your side. Chances are, though, these contracts are very, very difficult to break, and my fear is that you are stuck.
Oh, well, we wish we had better news for Linda.
Yeah.
All right, next we're going to go to a phone call from Diane in Potomac, Montana. Diane, good morning, and what's your question?
Good morning. I have a question regarding reallocating my investments. About 15 years ago, my husband and I started investing. I was going moderate to aggressive, and he was going moderate to conservative. And I really haven't changed that strategy for the 15 years, and we haven't had to touch it. So we've lost some, but we haven't had to, really lose anything. And my question is, when is a good time to go in and redo my strategy and get a little more conservative? Because now he's 59, I'm 44 and retired.
Stacey?
Diane, what you really want is a diversified portfolio based on your goals, when you need the money, and your tolerance for risk. Let's just use as a general rule of thumb, it can be a bit controversial, that a balanced portfolio has about 60% in stocks, 30% in bonds, and 10% cash, money market CDs. Money you need in 1 to 5 years, you want mostly in cash and short-term bonds. 5 to 10 years, you want a mix of cash, bonds, and stocks. Money that you're not going to touch for at least 10 years, you also want that mix of cash, bonds, and stocks. But the further you are away from your goal, the more money that you want in stocks. But what I want to make sure that she understands here is that just because she and her husband have their money in different places, that doesn't mean they're necessarily diversified. Just, a stock company in company X and a small stock company in company Y could be invested in the same thing. She wants her stocks to be a mix of international stocks, small stocks, large stocks. She wants high-quality bond funds with high-yield funds,
time to do that is
inflation, and she should really make those adjustments right now.
But you don't want to make big adjustments in one period of time or in one day, 1 week, even 1 month. You need to dollar cost average your way to different moves in your portfolio. So when you make shifts, do it in pieces. Do some this month, do some in 2 weeks, do some in next month, because you don't want to lock in a low price.
I want to move on because we want to get as many people in. We got an email now from Mindy. I have a house with a mortgage of $86,000. Value is now $70,000 to $75,000. Just got divorced, laid off from my job. I have a 9-year-old son. Which is the lesser of two evils? Letting the bank take the house or rack up credit card bills to keep from being homeless and pay what I can on credit card bills? This is just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
Carmen?
Yeah, I mean, Mindy, here's the thing. What I really like about Mindy is she's doing what I do, which is catastrophizing. You have to think about your worst case scenario when big things happen to you, like getting laid off. So that's exactly what she's doing. She's saying, should I save the house? Should I go into credit card debt? Here's what she needs to do, Mindy. You got to do a bunch of things all at once. You need to contact your lender, see if they can help you, see if they can adjust your loan, make some modifications. If they can't, go to HUD. Don't wait for their answer. Go to HUD.gov as well. Get a nonprofit housing counselor to work with you, to get on board with you, and make sure that you can manage all these changes. You can also go to nfcc.org if you get into credit card trouble. Get a nonprofit credit counselor. You need folks to help you and also reassess how long is it going to take you to get a new job? Are you really going to lose the house? Are you really going to have to get into credit card debt? Keep looking for a job and keep monitoring all of these situations so that you can have help on your side, so hopefully you can be scot-free.
So a lot of things she's got to do, but do them all in parallel tracks at the same time. All right. Stand by. We're going to get to more questions. We got Natalie across the street, Dean and DeLuca. We're back with more of today's Money 911 answers for your money worries. Our all-star Kaching team is Jean Chatzky, today's financial editor Stacey Tisdale, and author of The True Cost of Happiness, and Carmen Wong-Ulrich, a personal finance expert for CNBC. Got Natalie across the street with questions from the crowd. Natalie, take it away.
That's right. We have Pat here. She's from Tampa, and you have a question about your 401k.
I do. If you find yourself unemployed and you want to cash in your 401k to pay off your debt, what kind of penalties would you incur?
Jean, you want to handle it?
Yeah, sure. You would incur the same kind of penalties that you would at cashing out your 401k at any other time before retirement, which is essentially you're going to have to pay taxes on that money, and you don't look as if you're anywhere near retirement age, so 10% penalty.
Do you mind if you're 51?
51.
And you're about ready to lose your job,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what would you advise her, Jean, if she is in a pickle, she needs to get to access to this money?
If you need to get access to that money, you want to figure out how small a slice you could actually cash out to keep you going. But before you do that, take a really close look at your budget and start trimming everything else. And as Carmen was saying before, talk to your lenders, talk to your credit card companies to see if you can reduce the other payments that you have to deal with every single month.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Good luck, Pat. And we now have a question on the phone. Here's Christina. She's coming to us from Arizona. Christina, good morning, and your question.
Good morning. My children were receiving savings bonds from their grandparents every month for years, and the savings bonds were stolen from my safe, so I was wondering if there's anything I can do to replace them.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
What happens if you lose or misplace?
That's a great question. But
Savings
first of all,
bonds.
great grandma for giving those savings bonds for years. Wish I had one of those. Here's what you need to do. Go to treasurydirect.gov, and there's a form there, Form 1048, and you just download that, and you fill out the information. There as much information as you can, including your kids' names, social security numbers, all that information. And it's basically a claim form for lost, destroyed, or stolen savings bonds. Now, the more information you have, the quicker you're going to get these savings bonds and the money back. So if your grandparents, if they have the serial number, if they somehow wrote it down somewhere or they kept track of that, that means you can get the money back in a couple weeks. But if they don't have a serial number, it is a whole investigative process, so it could take months. But don't worry, they will track them down and they will find them. Exactly, replace them.
Good to know.
And people who haven't lost their savings bond, that's a great example. Write down those serial numbers. You know,
Or at
keep
least
an
make
inventory.
photocopies of
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
Yeah,
In case that happens.
Okay, we've got an email from Victoria in Orlando, Florida. She writes, I filed for bankruptcy 6 years ago, found out that my mortgage was not reaffirmed. What does that mean for me now? Some have told me that means I don't have to pay for my house. I'm okay. Others have recommended going back to court and have it done. So, Stacey, what does this mean?
When you reaffirm something, that means that you agree to pay debt that could have been dismissed. Suppose you want to keep your car, you make an agreement to make car payments. Suppose you want to keep your house, you make an agreement to keep mortgage payments. But an agreement has to be in place, and it has to be approved by a court, so I'm surprised that she's surprised.
Yeah.
Her legal counsel should have advised her. But here's where it gets kind of gray with this. A bank, by the time you get to bankruptcy, there's very little equity left in the house, if any at all. So a bank would rather get a monthly payment than to take inventory of yet another home. So sometimes they'll just kind of let these
So what
arrangements
should she
keep
do?
going. She needs to get a lawyer, and she needs to talk to her bank and find out exactly where she stands, because even though she's done this, the bank still controls the house, and they could send a sheriff
They don't want the
knocking at
sheriff
any
to
door.
knock on the door and
Right,
take
so
the
she needs to
home.
find out exactly where she stands
Before
now.
something bad
Yeah,
happens.
today.
Right, this
All
is
right.
the
Let's go
roof over
back.
her head.
Let's go back across the street to Natalie with another question. Nat?
All right, Al, I have the lovely Kathy here along with her just-turned 12-year-old daughter, Mizzy. Happy birthday. And you have a question about saving for college.
Yes, I have a 12-year-old daughter. As you can see, I have a 10-year-old son, Mikey, at home, and I'd like to know at this point, how much should I have in my 529 college savings plan?
Good question, Jean.
It's very difficult to put a number on it, but here's a good rule of thumb. First of all, you want to save for your own retirement. Then, if you can amass enough to pay for 1/3 of college for your kids before they go, 1/3 while they're in college, and 1/3 you can borrow, you are doing a great job.
All right. Well, ladies, once again, thank you so much. Great answers to great questions. Jean Chatzky, Stacey Tisdale, and Carmen Wong-Ulrich, thanks so much. If you've got a financial question, go to todayshow.com. We'll try to get it answered for you.